everyone, this is Jamie. Just in case you didn't listen to last week's episode, this is actually the second half of a two-parter with Danny McKay, Ashtyn Avella, and my wonderful co-host Crystal Pridmore, chatting about the joys, struggles, and all things adjacent to elementary music, but from more of an LGBTQIA plus lens. If you didn't listen to that episode, please pause this one and go back and check that one out. It'll give you more of a context of what we're talking about. But if you have, please enjoy part 2 of our talk. Thank you.
I feel like we've been talking a lot about what we do in our classrooms with our students. How about how we connect more with our families and our students' families? Like, is there anything that you do to help connect with them more? Like you were talking, Ash, about your concerts and making more purposeful to make them a window into your classroom. Are there things that you do with your family connections?
Like specifically regarding my identity, or just like that.
Like for example, is there a newsletter that sets expectations or reduces surprises at concert time in regards to like song choices or what kids might bring back home and says, my teacher said this and this about this one person. So
Yeah, well, we as a school have social justice standards, and those social justice standards are available to the parents, and part of that is the gender binary and things like that. So they can see that what the students are supposed to know is that there are many different genders and so on and so forth, all the things that like we know that are true and that people should just be afforded the basic respect like that. And so I actually don't really talk much about it in terms of like who I am. I would say that of all the people at my school, I'm misgendered most often by parents, and I'm okay with that because I'm there for the kids. And I've decided like sometimes it's not worth it to have a conversation with the parents because they're not in the same place as me. I might be in the Bay Area, but there are still people everywhere who don't always believe the same thing. So like there are people who would love for the things that are happening in Texas, for example, to be happening here. So like it's those like people are going to exist everywhere with all different political viewpoints. And so I my biggest thing is I want their kids to know what inclusivity is, to know how to be a good human being to all other human beings. And maybe they'll pass that to their parents.
I have a kind of a funny story at my last district. I actually had like 2 or 3 queer families, and that was so special to me just because it brought so I feel like those kids like understood me more. I don't know. And I mean, and I just, my heart went out to these kids. I thought it was so special that they had such a special family. But then I got to kinder graduation program, and I use, I don't know where it's from, but it's called First Grade. It's to the tune of New York, New York. It's on YouTube. I don't know where it's from, but I love having the kids sing it because it tears down the house. The parents think it's hilarious. But there's a part in the song where it says like, our mommies will make us do something. And I just, even as a proud gay man, I had never had that thought about the kids singing that. And then I have 2 families where they're both of their parents are fathers, are dads, identify as dads. So I was like, oh my goodness, what have I done? And so I changed the lyrics. I made the kids sing, our parents will make us do something. And it caused a little bit of a thing because like I think the lyrics to the video that I was using, because I was very lazy, guys. I used the video that somebody else made, and because I needed that to be easier for me. But I had to have that conversation, like, why it says mommy, why are we singing parents? And I was like, well, not everyone is having their mommy take them to school every day, so we need to be more inclusive of that. And so we're going to say parents instead. Didn't cause a scene, didn't ruffle any feathers. It was just like, we're going to change things so that everyone can see themselves in this song, regardless of who's taking them to school every day, or who's going to be taking them to first grade on the first day of school next year. And I think that's something that all teachers, regardless of where you live, could be thinking about, is like the literature that you choose really matters. And I myself, like, it's such a simple thing. And for years, I didn't even think about it until I was serving a community that looked a little different, and then I had to make a change. And now I do that everywhere. I say we don't sing mommies, we sing parents, and it makes me happier to know that anybody can feel included in this song now.
So in the school that I worked at the longest for 9 years, we actually had a lot of kids who were in the foster program, or they were homeless or going through all kinds of different things. So I even stopped saying parents in the last 10 years. I've started saying you're grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why I'm saying families even now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have blood relatives who are your family, or you can have people who are not related to you by blood who are also your family. Mm-hmm. So whoever your adults are, whoever is your family, then that's also inclusive and encompassing. And it's still true. They're still your family who love you.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess that kind of, those are great things to think about as well. I'm also wondering how do we, do you have a lot of other staff and colleagues and teachers at your sites who also support these sort of language, purposeful language things and that you do in your classroom? Do they also do in their classroom? Is it a school-wide thing that your principals and admins do as well?
Yes, I mean, I'm not in every classroom, so I don't really know what they're saying, but there's an expectation at our school that we don't say things like boys and girls and try not to say like, hey guys, like, and our admin does bring that up in saying we have essential expectations as teachers, and part of them is that we will respect like all people by not using language that is gendered and things like that. So that's something that is expected at our school. Whether or not that happens, I'm not sure. Like, I could have just a room full of girls and I still will never use it because if there's a student in there who is questioning their identity or has not come out yet, they're just going to feel so out of place. We can't expect there to be no one in the room just because they're not out about it. People have a lot of stuff going on inside, and especially in elementary school. Most of the students that I have who are trans and non-binary did not come out until they were in middle school and high school. So I've had many students who are now trans and non-binary, but none of them were trans and non-binary out as trans and non-binary while they're with me. And so no matter what I have, what the makeup is that it says on their forms, I will not use gendered language at all because I will never even call another student. Like, I'll say, like, if there's 3 people and another teacher might say, hey boys, I will never say that, hey boys. I'll say, excuse me, okay, like the 3 of you or something like that, just because I know what it's like to be questioning and battling in my inside of myself and having to hear one thing said to me when I know that's not true, but I'm not ready to say it out loud.
I remember getting a training from a person from the Trevor Project who came onto our campus and told us that even if we don't know that they're out, if a LGBTQ youth has one supportive adult in their life, one accepting adult, they're 40% less likely to attempt suicide as they're growing up. And so they were really passionate about, like, get those safe space posters on your wall. Have a picture of your whole family if you have queer family members. Just make it a normal part of your life and bring your whole self as an educator into the classroom so that they can see you're a real person and they see what's possible. And I like what you said, Ash, about not gendering that. I'm definitely guilty of that. Hey boys, you know, and I've tried in recent years to redirect myself to say, like, hey kiddos, or say something silly like, come on monsters, or chicken nuggets from Jonathan, because he's rubbed off on me.
Oh no, not the chicken nugget.
Oh, it always goes back to the nugs.
Yeah. Well, also, that's not to say that I don't. If it has to do, like, with one student, if, like, we're doing a song and there's a person in the middle, grizzly bear, and if they're fine with the grizzly bear being like she, and they're a boy, that's fine. But if they want it to be he or she, whatever their pronouns are, I will do that. But when it comes to groups of kids, I don't gender them, but individual kids, when they tell me who they are, I will usually say that because usually we might talk about this, but when we talk about song lyrics, I'm constantly changing them. I most often use they pronouns, but I will once in a while use she pronouns and get rid of the he, and the kids will still sing he, and I'll just kind of say like the board says she or like they. And so sometimes like our kids just naturally, because it starts young where they hear all this stuff about the binary that they automatically go, well, what is this character doing? He must be doing this. And it's like, well, we don't know who that character is because the book hasn't said a pronoun yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of did talk a little bit about changing lyrics, but with purpose. Like Danny was mentioning your story. And actually that reminds me of a song that I teach often with kids, where it specifically says Uncle Joe and three ladies. And so actually there was one class one year where the kids were themselves brought it up, how they said, well, they're not uncle, they're auntie, or my, and they get to choose which one they use. Or instead of saying three ladies, because the game is to pick up three ladies in a row, they say, why don't we say friends? Why don't we say pop up my friends in a row, and then everybody sings in, and it's still a musical and it's still inclusive. So I feel like having that purpose in mind is the important part of making these decisions. Whether the students bring it up, is it inclusive? Is it safe? Is it helping us create a better community? You were going to say something?
I just wanted to like, I don't know, I'm preaching to the choir here. But I feel like you go on these elementary music teacher like Facebook groups, which why am I still on Facebook? I don't know anymore. But and that exact conversation happens all the time because like the conversation of degendering folk dances. I feel like it's something that everyone can get behind because like our classes aren't 12 boys, 12 girls, like. And so talking about the pair and the partner and the lady and the gent, like we all can acknowledge that is one, annoying, not factual, and then also like when you're talking with fourth and fifth graders, like in the land of puberty, like they don't want to be talking about the girl that they need to be partnering with. I just think it's so funny in that when we're talking about it in that like very hetero context. Everyone's on board. They're like, yeah, let's degender this. Let's take out the lady because, we're not all going to be, we don't have enough girls in the class. But then the minute that we put this inclusivity to LGBTQ people into it, it becomes indoctrination. It becomes problematic. And I think that's the connection that I'm making even right here in this moment is that LGBTQIA plus inclusion is just better teaching because it helps include more. In the same way that we talk about like, things that you might do for someone that is in special education, the accommodations you might make for them is something that's good for everybody. Not just, I don't know, that was just a little click in my brain that was happening. Like,
no, exactly right. When you said that, I was just thinking about people with disabilities. Why do we have all these ramps? Why do we have elevators? Why do you have all these things that benefit everybody? It's not specifically to certain people. All this language and purposeful changes we're making is meant to benefit everybody.
Universal design, baby.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that we talked about all these great stories, and I was just wondering what happens. It sounds like you have very supportive communities at your schools, but it's always hard to speak up. Personally, I like to avoid conflict, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But if someone has a misstep and somebody misgenders you, or somebody, or like a staff is in your own work spaces, ends up doing something that actually might be hurtful for you or for the students. What is something that you do to help, a gentle script or something that you feel like has worked to help make a better change for everybody, make it universal?
Well, one thing for me is actually teaching the students, first of all. I have a conversation all the time, not just like in the beginning of the year, but all the time of like, what happens if someone uses my pronouns wrong? Or what happens if someone uses, like says your name incorrectly, whatever it may be? How could you like gently tell somebody, what that is. And just this year, I was teaching a kindergarten class, and the teacher misgendered me in front of the class, and someone in the class just said said she, like, because the teacher was like he, and then she was like she, and I was just like, see, it's perfect. It's exhausting if I have to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's when a 5-year-old does it, it feels really good to be like, you're learning, you're listening. But I mean, if it's
And they
happening to
care.
you, yeah,
They care about you.
exactly. Like, it's nice to know that, like, they hear what I say, and they're learning something from it. But also for yourself, I think the first thing uh, is for people who make a mistake is to realize, like, it's okay. Like, it is okay. No one wants to hear you beat yourself up because you made a mistake. Like, no one wants to hear your apology. Like, you can feel bad about it, but don't feel bad about it to the person, because that's like an awkward situation to have to, like, hear someone just beat themselves up because they misgendered me. And I'm kind of like, oh, it's okay. I'm consoling them. It's like, oh, you're okay. But really, in order to, like, correct somebody, like, if you hear somebody misgender another person, just say, oh, hey, it's actually she, or it's actually he, or their name is pronounced. It's that easy to just say, it's this. Like, because I think you can do the educating if you want, but I think it's just easier to say, just straight out, it's actually this, instead of, like, going into it. Unless if they ask you to go into it, of course. But I always like to say Google is free, because we shouldn't have to be our own Googles. And I truly do use that phrase.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful about what you find on Google. There's media literacy is a thing.
Correct.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Right, but I like that using humor to kind of say, like, all right, I don't need to do all of this labor for you. This is a you problem. Mm-hmm.
How about you, Danny? Any stories?
I mean, I think in this context, I really just want to underline and bold what you've already said, Ashtyn. Just like, I think it's really important to encourage, especially if you consider yourself an ally. Like, this is a conversation where like queer people are constantly advocating for themselves. And I don't know, maybe it's just because it's 2025 and I'm tired, but I'm just like, I need the allies in the room to step up a little bit, because like we can correct pronouns and things like that. I mean, I deal with this even in my own circles with like family members, and it's just like, it's time for the allies to say, hey, it's she, and I hate to come at it so aggressively, but I think that's just something that I'm feeling on my heart right now. Is like, hey, allies that are listening, when you're not around your trans, non-binary, queer coworker, and you're with that one coworker that never gets it right, they're going to feel something more when it comes from you. And I'm not saying be mean about it. I'm saying it's the exact same thing that you said, Ashtyn, saying, actually, it's she. It hits different when it's an ally who is also having to do the work, saying it, than when it's the queer person. And like I said, queer people are tired. It is hard to do this constantly, day in and day out, especially when it's the same person every time. And so I just think that's how I'm feeling in this moment. Is I just want to acknowledge that queer people, especially trans and non-binary people, are doing so much. They're giving so much grace, and I just want to encourage allies to step up, especially when we talk about the coworker thing. I think with children, we like we do with children, we have grace and we reteach, because that is what you do with children, that children are still learning. But when it comes to the adult situation, I think you should feel empowered to speak out. And again, we're not talking about being mean or being rude. HR is a thing, but we're talking about like correcting the mistake and holding them accountable and not just letting it silence. I'm guilty of it in my own family, of letting it slide. And but it's time. It's 2025. Like, speak up. You should feel empowered to let somebody exist and feel respected, and you can call someone out for that in a polite way. So here's to you allies in 2025 and 2026. You're going to do it, and we're going to love you for it.
Thank you. I feel like on the other side, as someone who's made many mistakes and has been because we're all not perfect. We're having this platform, but we've been through a huge learning process and through our own journeys. I've made mistakes, plenty of mistakes, and I've been corrected, and I've been told from my friends, please stand up for me. I've been in that place too, where I've been told that. And I feel like what we forget to do as someone who has made the mistake, yes, give yourself some grace. Yes, try to learn from the experience, but also in that moment, try to bring that defensive-ness down, because you're not the one who's being hurt. And say thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Or thank you, and I will do better next time, is also something that's important to just have that mindset. And I feel like there's a lot of parallels between correcting pronouns and genders, and also with saying the right name. I feel like there are some parallels that we can, if you're having a hard time thinking, I don't know how to do this, this is new for me. If you've corrected names, if you had people like say your name incorrectly and you've corrected them, there's a similar parallel here where that if someone corrects you, say thank you, and to try to remember that for the next time and practice in your head. Just like if I have a student and I keep forgetting their name, Anaya, her name is Anaya. Remember this person, she goes by she does this, she does that.
That's why
and all that.
It's so important to put ourselves forward from a place of love and not defensiveness. To just say, like, I want to honor you because I love you as a fellow human. And that is the difference between a good friend and a great friend. And that's the difference between an okay teacher and a great teacher, is are you able to be free, and are you able to spread that love?
What I tell my homeroom teachers at my school is, the best way you can help me is to practice with your students, even if that's helping you as well, by saying, today we have music with Ashtyn. She's so excited to see you today, or we're going to go to her classroom today for music. Like, just saying that and having the kids just hear it is super helpful. It's that easy. That repetition is really what matters and what makes a difference.
I feel like this episode can go on for a long time. And obviously we're not going to cover all the topics in this episode. And I feel like this is basically easily a two-part episode at this moment. But I wonder, is there like a moment of joy, of student joy you'll never forget? Something that, because we've been talking a lot of hard stuff. How about we bring it back up to, what is a moment of joy that you'll never forget?
When I got my first letter from a student who had graduated already in middle school, and they came out as non-binary, and they wrote me this very long letter about how thankful they are that I was my authentic self in the classroom, and that I was able to be open and proud, and that really helped them. And they're like, they were talking about how proud they are of me, but also like how it helped them in their journey to come out as well. And honestly, that was in probably only a couple years into transition. Like, I was still not a confident person. I still was like confused about who I was and what I was doing. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my gosh, there's a student who thought about me after they left. And like, I actually made a difference. Because I feel like as elementary teachers, it's actually kind of hard to be like, did I make a difference in any of these kids' lives? Like, are they going to think about me? Because they have so many more years of school left. Like, they always talk about their high school teachers. And I'm always like, I hope they think about me. I hope I did something. And so to receive that letter, it's just like, oh my gosh, I made a difference. Like I'm so happy that this student feels comfortable and that like they thought of me. And I still have that letter. It's one of those things like to just take out when you're feeling down and be like, oh, beautiful, gorgeous.
Yes.
I think, okay, this actually kind of happened really recently, and it's a little not on the topic of like queer identity, but my school has, I don't know what they call it everywhere, but like gifted and talented, but they call it Quest at my school. It's a thing. And there was this big event last year where a bunch of the kids that were in this program had to get pulled out. And I remember so vividly, everyone was like, hey kid, you need to go with them. And then this kid was like, oh, I can't. I'm not a part of that. I'm not smart enough. And I was like, hold on a second. Like being a part of this program doesn't, I mean, like we're happy for them. I just like said this really quickly in like 5 minutes, you know, we love that. We're so excited for them. But like, just because you didn't get into this program doesn't devalue your worth. Like you're not less smart. They think differently. They passed, honestly, I even said like, they passed the test. They took a test and did well on it. And, you know, I even said my own upbringing, I took this test and I did not get accepted, but you guys think that I'm a pretty talented person, right? Like I am a fantastic, a pretty good music teacher, right? Like, please say yes. Please say yes, fifth grade. And nothing came of it. And then like a couple of weeks later, I passed a parent who was working that day, and they just like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? But apparently they came home that night, one of the students, and had like a huge conversation about being in Quest and how like, even though it's something really important, it's also not that important. And like, I don't have to devalue my own self-worth. Like apparently it just was a big conversation for a kid who was really down about not being a part of the program. And that was just a good reminder to me that like words matter, what you say matters, the way you live and the things you do for children and the way you advocate for them matters. Because to me, that was such a little part of my day. I don't even think I thought twice about it. We moved on, we played a game, you know, what have you. But to find out that was the dinner conversation that night was really powerful and a great reminder. And I think with all of this talk that we have about, you know, being more inclusive, I just want to remind people that those little things have a huge impact. So you may not feel like removing certain language or, you know, doing this little thing, not saying boys and girls, like you may feel like these little things aren't having an impact, but they really are. They really are. I mean, you never know what is going to be the thing that the kid says happened at school that day that made them feel good. And, you know, for me, it was the talking about the gifted and talented program at school. So, and that was like, I'm doing it right. I'm doing the teacher thing right.
Thank you. I wonder, before we go to our break, now back to some practical things that would help us. We said a lot of practical things on this episode, in this time together. But I feel like if admin were listening and you wanted them to take 2 actions tomorrow, what would help the most? What do you feel like your admin have already been doing, at least 2 things that you could suggest to other teachers that would help the most with making it a more inclusive environment?
I know for me, I mean, I love my principal to death. I mean, she literally has come to the Austin Gay Men's Chorus concerts and, you know, to support me. And I mean, we talk about Drag Race and we talk about like when she goes to see her friend in Seattle, who's also a gay man. I mean, we talk like, and I think especially in Texas where legislation and what have you may not be on your side, I would just encourage admin to not, especially if you want to be an ally, to not shy away from the things that you would do for other teachers as you would for queer teachers. I just think like, I have literally been in situations where someone was like, hey, you, how's your wife? Oh my goodness, how are you? How's your husband? And then they get to me and because they're uncomfortable talking about my same-sex partnership, they literally avoided the conversation with me. And that was so uncomfortable. And so like my encouragement to admin is like, if you know that you have a teacher who is in a queer relationship or is a queer person, to not be afraid to shy away from those kind of conversations that are going to naturally come up, like talking about someone's same-sex partner or asking them about the gay choir that they're in. You know, because you would do that for the other staff members. And so I just would like to encourage admin, like, that is really a really special way that you can signal to someone, like, I'm here for you, regardless of what society tells you.
Mine is that admin has to be the number one cheerleader of all of their teachers. They need to be able to get your pronouns correct. They need to be able to say your name correctly. They need to be able to do all of those things because the teachers are looking to them and they have the power to say, like, this is what we believe and this is what we do at this school. So I think that they should be the first ones to make sure they're doing it correctly, to make sure they are standing up for you. Just like Danny said, I think it's important that we are able to have administrators who are not afraid. I think that is super important because they set the tone. And I've had administrators that have always been accepting, and it makes a difference for them to stand up there and say, if you're not using anyone's pronouns correctly, then you are not meeting the expectations of this school, and we'll have to have a conversation about that. Like, that feels very good to know that they're comfortable enough to say that and comfortable enough to be able to have conversations with the people who are not doing a good job.
Absolutely. And one last thing, if you were to tell any teacher, music teacher, at least one routine that they could change if they haven't already, what would it be and how?
Change the pronouns in everything. Sometimes even in books, I'll be like, what? Like, I'm doing with my 3 to 5, we're using Snowmen at Night to create a performance of, and it says that the snowmen drink hot, ice cold cocoa made by snowmen mothers. And I'll stop the book and I'll say, I mean, maybe the fathers do too. I don't know where they are, but it's the book says moms, but I mean, the fathers do too.
Yep.
And so, like, I'll always make comments to, like, the class just so kids start thinking, like, they're not used to, like, it being like, oh yeah, the moms are making the cocoa. I'm always like, I think one of the classes I literally said, where do you think the fathers are right now?
It's so playful when you make commentary like that too.
Yeah. Well, I was just reading something that said that 80% of children's books have gendered the lead character as a male, like no matter what it is. It could be a fox or a fish or anything. And so I'm a big fan of that too. I love to gender flip the books.
I'm sorry, I was still sad. Like, I don't know what the fathers are doing, but they probably helped make the cocoa, and if they didn't, well, that was a choice for them, and I hope they're in the doghouse. No, that was really great. I mean, I think as much as I like to think that that we might be past this, I think for me the biggest one that I've tried to get rid of that I'm not always perfect at is just like gendering, like the boy versus girl competition. And it sucks because, like, I know children sometimes are very emboldened by like the boy versus girl thing, but I just think, like, I think back to myself, like anytime I was in PE class and they're like, okay, boys on one side, girls on the other side, I like literally wanted to cry because all of my friends were girls and I wanted to be on that side with them. And so I think about that, and even in 5th grade, I couldn't have told you I was a gay man, but I could have told you my like 5 best friends were in the other line because they were girls. So I think if you are finding yourself constantly leaning on gender to divide class, to create competition, to put into groups, etc., it is so easy, like you said, Ashtyn, to be like collars and not collars. Even I've even done like long hair and short hair. I know hair can get really gendered. But I've even done that, and it because I was in a class where I had several like boys with long hair, and it mixed it up perfectly. But then the kids were like, "So when you said long hair versus short hair, you mean boy versus girl?" And I was like, "No, are you looking at the way the classroom looks right now?" And they were like, "Oh, you're right." The people with hair touching their shoulders isn't all girls, and then like there were girls that were I don't know. It was just an interesting thing I did on the spur of the moment one day. And so I just encourage people to find ways to remove that sort of split and that sort of competition, just because I don't think it really is doing much for us.
Exactly. Anything you wanted to add, Crystal, that you think would be beneficial as well?
No, I think that that they have said it all. Those are so easy. They're so easy to do. Yeah. You can do that Monday. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, everybody. But to our listeners, we aren't leaving just yet. We still have something exciting after the break.
Hey, we just want to take a quick moment to shout out Mission Trails Financial, the partner making this show possible at no cost to you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by financial planning, you're not alone. But Mission Trails Financial is here to make things simpler. They offer tailored financial advice for you, from investments to tax and insurance planning, with a team of experienced fee-based advisors who are CFP designated and fiduciaries. That means they're putting your best interests first. Let's face it, navigating the world of finances can feel like drinking from a fire hose, with endless options for investments just a mouse click away. But Mission Trails Financial aims to cut through the noise by breaking things down into clear, actionable steps while providing regular updates. Mission Trails Financial believes everyone has the right to work with a financial advisor, regardless of how much you've saved. Mission Trails Financial's focus is building relationships so you are not traveling your financial path alone. They even help you keep track of old 401ks when you're transitioning between jobs, because your financial future should always stay on track, no matter what changes. So don't wait. Let Mission Trails Financial show you how to make that next step towards the future you've worked hard for. Plus, your first consultation is absolutely free. Just visit missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 today. You'll be glad you did, because leaning on professionals like Mission Trails Financial is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more details. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Well, here's the hard left turn. Thank you all so much for being part of this journey. It means so much to have you join us. And if you want this journey to continue, please support the things you love. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/chclassroom, where you can get special merch, other things for the class, as well as ways to connect with us and hear updates about what's happening on our chaotic, harmonious lives. We are also revamping it, and we'll announce more about those details after ORF conference sometime in December. However, if you don't have a coin to toss away, totally okay. We're not going to guilt you about it. But there are free ways to support. Just leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And some of you know the drill. Hopefully everybody does this. 5 stars only. And to add, if you leave a written review, we'll read it on the podcast. Follow us on YouTube and the socials, and leave this episode a really awesome comment for all of us. And actually, all those things help keep the small things ensure that the mics and lights stay on. So thanks. All right. Something that I think is very wonderful and colorful. Ta-da!
It's a fan for you listeners.
Exactly. Audio listeners. If you ever go to the YouTube channel, you can see it's a foldable fan. It's one of those famous clicky ones. I don't know if you can hear it over the microphone.
You gotta give it a good snap.
Okay.
There you go.
You can hear it. There it is.
Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
It has more like rainbow colors and all these hearts that are also multicolored as well. So maybe not, doesn't have to specifically be this pattern, but a clicky fan is what we're going for this Picado this time. So any ideas, anybody who wants to go first?
I just want to say, don't be like me and get 15 of them all going at the same time, because I had no idea how loud they were until I attempted that.
It's so loud.
It's too much. They are so loud. Yeah, so just beware. Okay, but Danny raised his hand so nicely.
Yeah, sorry. So actually, I haven't used it with a student, but I do have my own fan, and it actually says Slay on it. And so when my students do a good job, they get a couple claps from the Slay fan.
Fun!
And they know they've done well when the Slay fan comes out, because it doesn't come out for everything. But I will pull it out and go, "Hey guys, Slay, you slayed it." So that's
that is
how
fantastic. That is
fan.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Any others? Ashtyn? No, okay, so
I'll give you a minute.
I had
go
one.
ahead.
I had a fun one that I did where we did our arms, and then I slowly opened the fan and they had to mirror with their arms.
Ooh.
And then I said pick a different body part, so what would you mirror? So Jamie, if you could just like slowly open it, and then you could choose if you're going to do your arms or your legs, and then you close it up again. And then we got in groups. And so how could your group mirror what the fan is doing? It was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
That way only you have a clicky fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like ta, that would be anything.
You have to practice a lot to time it.
You couldn't do
And
16,
do not-
Let's just do.
Do not have 15 at once.
Oh my gosh.
It's too loud.
Five, and Rose behind, and you can,
I think my idea would be I would definitely not have 15 of these. It
No.
would probably be just like 3 or 4 at a time. And I don't know about you, but my classroom is a portable. It's really small, and it just keeps all the sound in. It makes everything extra loud. So even then, I would probably just take turns. I would have everybody else have the non-clicky fans for whatever folk dance that we're doing. And then for the ones who have the clicky fans, they might be in the center to do the main part. And then you switch, trade places. And then that way, the people with the clicky fans are the ones having the turn. Everyone else is fanning in the background in a circle. That would be my idea.
Cute.
Jamie, you were doing level 3 when I was doing level 2, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember.
During the level 2 sharing, I used 2 fans and I danced with 2 fans.
Exactly.
So I think just adding that, we were the flamingo, and I had my 2 fans flipping around because I'm perpetually uncomfortably hot. And so I'm just always doing this. And our movement teacher was just like, let's put him in the share.
Yes,
There you go. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of my first memories of you. Because actually, Ash and I go a little back in San Francisco Orff levels.
And you were,
it was great.
You were flamingos in this dance. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at SeaWorld, and one of my favorite things about working at SeaWorld was I would get there early sometimes, and they would be taking the flamingos for a walk, and it's just like 2 people with brooms, like trying to funnel the flamingos like down the walkway. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. It was amazing. So that was my visual, but with Ashtyn with fans like in the middle.
That would be amazing. We should definitely have that performance.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us. If people have questions for you or want to be enriched by your knowledge, or we were mentioning part 1, part 2, but I feel like we should have many parts to this conversation, like many, many further parts to this, maybe with other people other music educators who you would want to invite and have more conversations about. Ash, how would they reach you?
I don't have a platform like Chaotic Harmony and TNE, but they could just reach out to you, Chaotic Harmony. You could send it my way.
Okay,
they don't need my personal information.
That's fine.
We'll do. Yes, we'll protect your privacy. Yes.
Yes, you want to talk to Ash, you talk to us first.
Unless
Yes,
our people will talk to her people.
Yeah.
We're your bodyguards. We're your managers.
Yes. Please set up an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
With my people.
I like that.
And I am on TikTok, Instagram. You can find me, Danny Plans It. And contact me there.
And Crystal?
Oh, you can find me. Just look up my name, Crystal, like the sparkly rock, and Pridmore anywhere.
Not
And for
Pridless.
me,
Don't Pridless.
yes, no Pridless.
Pridmore.
Well, just like how I introduced myself, you can reach me at my email, miss.fun.jun@gmail.com. And you can also reach us at CH Classroom on all the socials, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, or email us. And then we'll email Ashtyn about your questions, chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. If you want to share thoughts or have people or topics you'd like to have on the podcast, or if this inspired more questions for future episodes and recordings, please let us know. It's because we would love to discuss it further. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.